Here we go. April 20th, 2013. The A8 Summit. This last year was a summer event in the backyard. This year it's an indoor event held in April. And this summer we have the Classic Gaming Festival coming, and that will be in the backyard. It'll be a lot bigger than last year. Our first room is the museum. Here we have the Atari 2600 games. These are the later released boxes towards the end when the Atari 2600 Junior was released. And then here we have the Atari 8-bit software. Again, the later releases. These are for the XE, which was the end of the 8-bit line, the 130 XE and the 65 XE. Then the XEGS, which is the XE game system, which was a computer/console, basically an Atari 800 with 64K of RAM. There's the original Atari cartridges and peripherals, the original Atari 2600 in the box.
Just do nothing, and you'll have a chance to choose another of the program categories. Atari. We've brought the computer age home. Which of these categories would you like to know more about? Press the number next to your choice. Oops, you pressed the wrong key. Try again.
Home management. Good selection. This is one fantastic machine. It does everything.
Here's our theater,
well, almost.
Showing various Atari-related commercials and documentaries throughout the day.
If you make a mistake,
and then here's our Atari 7800 museum.
It takes the work out of
and of course the Atari 5200. And if you notice here, this is Tempest for the Atari 5200, of which there is a commercial from back in the 80s. Unfortunately, this game was never released until 2013. The original author, who had it about 85 to 90% complete before the bottom dropped out and Atari canceled the development of the game, actually got back to work on it sometime in 2011, 2012 and finished it up. So it comes complete, just like the original old school boxes, manual and cartridge with professional labeling. You would not know that this wasn't released in 1982 or 83 when it was supposed to originally have been released. Here is the rest of our Atari 5200 selection. Again, this is just a museum. It's for show. All these games are available on the various machines in our game room, which we'll be visiting next. Here's some of what I would call the middle-age Atari 2600. These were the silver boxed releases, which came out after the original pastel colors, which we saw earlier. And over here is another special set of boxes for the Atari 2600, none other than the greatest third-party developer for that system, Activision. And of course there's Pitfall too. So this is our museum room, and now we'll go to the final room of the event, and that is the game room. I'm sure you can hear the games firing away up in the background, and we're heading over there right now. Here's some more. These are some really old school Atari 8-bit games. Those Epix boxes are old. They're probably from like 1980. Then, of course, a couple of Activision games, Kaboom, Mega Mania. No, the box isn't upside down. The guy is. He's nuts. That's why it's Mega Mania. Pitfall. And, of course, one of my own all-time favorites, which I don't understand why people don't like it, E.T. And then we'll pan to over here, and first stop is the official A8 Summit 2013 poster. And then into the game room. Our first stop in the game room, we'll get a pan of the whole group. This side here to the left is still being put together. There'll be some more game systems up there. There's Anthony Becker, Mayhem Maybe, playing some Atari 2600 Asteroids. Over here to our right are our 8-bit systems. They are not stock. These are heavily modified. This is an Atari XEGS that has a 1 megabyte RAM update. And it has an Atari Max flash cart, which can hold 8 megabits worth of cartridge games, or actually any games for that matter. Playing Dig Dug. Over here we have the Atari 600 XL, which was a 16K RAM computer. It was the lower end, except this particular version has been modified to have a 1 megabyte RAM upgrade, and it has the side 2 cart. which, as you can see sticking out of the top there, is a CF card. That CF card is 8 gigabytes in size, and pretty much where all of these cartridges here hold 8 megabits, this can hold 8 gigabits, of which there isn't enough Atari 8-bit software to fill 8 gigabytes. So essentially, if I wanted to, every single game ever released through the 10-year lifespan of the Atari 8-bit computers could fit on one cartridge, including the porno game that Anthony likes to play. Perv. There's a little bit of Missile Command. And then finally, over here, we have one of Atari's last systems that I would say were of the original age. And this is the Atari 7800. And panning up, you'll see there's a game, Mooncrester, that just came out recently. There are some really great homebrew developers that are releasing games for this system today that are just as good as if they would have been, actually even better than back in the day. Because there are games that have been re-released in the modern day that blow away the original Atari 7800 releases that the company itself put out. Here are a few others. Pac-Man Collection blows away Ms. Pac-Man. The Ms. Pac-Man version here is almost like the arcade compared to the Ms. Pac-Man that was originally released back in the 80s for this system. Then you have Scramble, which is also a recent release. Bonk, which is essentially it's Qbert Perfect. Just I guess they changed the name for legal reasons. And Failsafe, which is part 2 to the old Atari 8-bit computer game Countermeasure. Great games. There's much more than just those, but those are the ones I only have at this point. Bob DiCrescenzo, he's the one who makes the majority of those new Atari 7800 games you just saw. The guy is an excellent programmer because the options, the effects, the extras that he puts into these games is unbelievable. And our final view will be here. We have some more Atari 8-bit software. You have the assembler editor. Look at the old boxes. Those are the original releases from like 79. Defender, Kix, Atari Microsoft Basic 2. Now here's a very special game I want to talk about for a moment. This is Fantasy 2. It was released for the Commodore 64, the Atari 8-bits, the Atari ST. You may notice I left out a name of a particular system that does not have Fantasy 2. Anthony, could you chime in on that and let us know what system doesn't have Fantasy 2?
The game sucks.
Suck nothing. One of the greatest trilogies in computer role-playing games. The Amiga, friends, the Commodore Amiga does not have Fantasy 2. It has 1 and 3, but not 2. The Atari ST, Amiga's prime competitor, has Fantasies 1, 2, and 3. You do the math. Over here, to those of you who know the Temple of Apshai and the Temple of Apshai trilogy games, these are actually the same game system, but a different trilogy. This was the original was the Hellfire Warrior, which is before Temple of Apshai. Danger in Drindisti, I can't even talk. Drindisti, excuse me. Danger in Drindisti, and I believe the other one was Morlock's Tower. Along with the Hellfire Warrior original release, makes another trilogy of Temple of Apshai type games. As most of you know, the Temple of Apshai games were also 3 separate games. Temple of Apshai, this one here, The Curse of Ra, and the Upper Reaches of Apshai. Years later, they released the Temple of Apshai trilogy with new enhanced graphics and sound that incorporated all 3 individual games as one. Why, Epix, didn't you do it for Hellfire Warrior and its expansions? We would have had 2 awesome Temple of Apshai trilogy-type systems to play. Here's Astro Chase, which was another good game back in the day. And then down here we have Atari Logo, which was a programming language for children. Pole position, football, tennis, joust, and of course, everyone's favorite, Galaxian. So that's all. Now I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to enjoy the rest of the day at the A8 Summit 2013, April 20th. And, we have a few guests here. Here's one of my favorite guests. Hey, Squink. Sam. Hey, Sam. That's Squinks. And in the background, that's the Cool Beans, Koopy, Sammy the Bull, and the Mini Cooper. This is John Sozio at this year's A8 2013 Summit, signing out.